What is happening, everybody? It is me, Reverend Raph, here with my mate Kyle, aka Beer Buddy,
What's
and
going
we
on,
are
Raph?
two dudes who talk music.
We are.
We are here with another interview for you today. It's a good one, this one. But before we dive into that, hit that subscribe button down the bottom there. You get all hit the bell. You get all that good stuff. You get alerted when we post new interviews. We don't post too frequently, so you're not going to get spammed with notifications or anything. It's usually once a week, maybe twice a week on a particularly busy week. We generally aren't posting all that time, so hit the subscribe and the bell if you like interviews with Australian bands and sometimes international bands. And just a quick reminder as well, as we are also doing reaction videos over on the Metal Ruse channel. So if you head over there and hit subscribe over there also, you get news, interviews, reaction videos, reviews, all that good stuff. Get your metal news from Metal Ruse. But mate, we are here today with an awesome interview. I think this is their first time on the podcast, right?
It is. It is. I'm
It is.
99.9% sure.
It is. It is. I think we have discussed maybe getting them on before, but
We
it's just hasn't kind of
have.
worked out. But I'm excited. I'm really excited for this one. Let me ask you a question. Right? So I'd like you to, if you could, in your mind brain, imagine something for me. All right?
I'm
If you could
imagining.
take like a musical blender, all right, musical blender, and you put different things in it and mix them together. Okay. Now, in that blender, I would like you to take a little bit of Lamb of God and put some of that in there,
It's tasty. I already
and
like
then
that.
a little bit of Kill Switch Engage, and
See,
kind of put some of that down in there.
yeah,
Just stuff
it's
that down in there,
tasty.
and then you take yourself some Arch Enemy and push a
Oh,
little bit of that in there too,
that's very
and then
tasty.
and then to top it all off, I just want you to get your little pepper shaker, right, and just put a little bit of little bit of black metal in there, just a tiny, teeny little, just like a of the black metal
Oh, a
on
little
there,
bit of
okay?
Salt Bay on there.
A little bit, yeah,
Bit of
and
Salt
then
Bay of black metal.
yep, and then I want you to hit that button, whiz it all around for a good few minutes. What do you reckon you get out of that?
Oh, I
You
reckon
know,
you get I reckon it's a concoction. I reckon it's a concoction called.
I reckon it's pretty damn tasty, is what I reckon, because if you do that, you're gonna get our guest today. You're
Yeah.
gonna get Flaming Wreckage.
Yeah,
Now, this
let's
is a
call it
band
that, a flaming wreckage.
This is a band. This is a band that has been around for a number of years now. I can remember seeing them many years ago, back in the Sydney thing. I think we might have either seen them or played with them
I
back when I
think
was
we've
in
played with
Acid
them.
Nymph.
No, we
So
played
that's
with them.
going
We
back a
definitely
while.
played with them.
And look, I was immediately taken with these guys when I first saw them, and I've been a fan ever since. They have been kicking ass. If you've been to a reasonable number of gigs, metal gigs in Australia, as anywhere on the East Coast, you've almost certainly encountered this band at some point because they've been very active over the
Or you've
years.
heard of them if you're into the Sydney scene.
It's yeah. So Flaming Wreckage is who we've got on for you today. So we're going to dive into that right now. Sit right back and enjoy this one for your Thursday. Mate, welcome. Great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us for the podcast.
Hey man, no worries. Thank you for having us.
Not a problem at all. Cheers. We get the
Cheers.
old
Cheers.
yeah.
Ching, ching.
Get that on there.
No crack
Get that
for
on
me
there.
today.
No crack for you. I'm on the Mercuries again, so
I'm just trying to, like I said, try to get back some of the vitamins I've lost.
some of those vitamins. Yeah. Been working hard, out fishing all day, right?
Yeah, my son caught his first fish today. A little brim.
Love it.
He's 3. I threw one cast out for him, and I said, "Here you go, mate. See how you go with that." And the next thing you know, me and my daughter going, "Oh, I got a fish, Dad."
That's good. Love that. Love that. So
that's the best thing about fishing is just drinking, right? Like,
Well, yeah, not when you have kids.
well, still,
So me and the missus said we're not bringing them next time. We're going drinking.
yeah,
We're going to go
there you
fishing.
go. You're
Yeah,
gonna go and do a little fishing with your drinking.
Yeah.
that's right.
Love it. Well, yes, we are joined by Dave from Flaming Wreckage. Thank you so much for taking
So
the
good to
time out
see you,
on this
bud.
evening to join us.
No worries.
We are. Look, I'll be honest. I saw Flaming Wreckage like back in the mid 2010s. I was either playing a gig with you guys or was just at one of the early gigs back in like I say
The
early gigs. It
the
may have
Valve
been in
days.
late in my time with Tensions Arise, or when I was with Acid Nymph. I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly, but I remember being immediately struck by what you guys had. Straight away, as soon as y'all got up there, I'm like, these guys have got it. Like, and you have not failed to disappoint on that front since everything that I see coming out from you guys is absolutely cracking, and it's a name that is known. Flaming Wreckage is a name that is known throughout the Sydney, the Australian metal community. I talk to people all the time. I talk to people up here in Brisbane now that I live up here, and I see Flaming Wreckage on a bill, and I'm like, yes, like I'm like, people have to get out to this. If I can't get to it, I'm like, people need to get to this, and they're like, oh shit, yes, Flaming Wreckage, I have to go and see them. I've been meaning to see them. So the name is out there, the name is around. People know who you guys are by reputation, even if they haven't seen you guys. So I want to say, first off, congratulations on that, because that's difficult to achieve
Oh,
in
thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Australian metal, because there's a lot of bands out there, and to get to even that tier
Mm.
is that's a really impressive achievement, and it is something that you should be proud of, because
Yeah.
there's so many of these bands come and go, and you guys have been around for like over for 10 fucking years now. You guys have
Yeah.
been for over 10 years now, right? And it's like, how many Aussie metal bands really stick around that long?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably been longer than that, actually. Like, the idea for the band came about even before that. First album was 2014, but we were already doing shows before that sort of came
Hmm.
out. But, didn't really know what we were doing. You just kind of figure it out as you go. But as you were just saying, like, around the time, like the mid 2010s, like 2014, 15 and stuff, we just like got out there and just started smashing as many gigs as we could in like shitty places. Didn't give a fuck where it was. We just go and play there.
Mm.
I think like just playing that much just gets the band nice and tight. You get a vision happening for where you want to go on the next release, and yeah, just consistent playing is something that's like always defined our band,
Mm.
and I'm really proud of that because it can be a slog, but playing is like always going to be our favorite thing that we do. It's the best. So yeah, it's good. It's great that you guys have seen us like back in the day. And I noticed you're wearing the old school shirt there, man. That's
Yeah,
like I was
that's
saying.
from. That's pretty sure that's from a show we played together. I was in a band called Exist with him back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, okay. I would have probably been at the Valve Bar or something like that, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah. Was that the Tempe one? I'm pretty sure it was the Tempe one.
Yeah, we did that a few times. Yeah, that's where we cut our teeth, man. It was there in
Yeah,
like the
man,
Lewisham
same.
Hotel. And yeah, and then it moved to like the Agincourt. So yeah, there's a couple of cool places like that in Sydney that would just like, pretty much have like a lot of up and coming bands on, and you could just play there quite regularly. I feel like that's something that's a bit tougher now. You don't want to overplay the same city too much, but when you're a young band, you can just get out there and just smash it. Cut your
Yeah,
teeth, and figure
That's
out
it.
how to
That's
be
what
a band.
every young band should be doing. Every young band should be getting
definitely.
out there and just whoring yourselves out to as many shows as you possibly can and cut your teeth as
Yeah,
hard as you can, because it's those when you play to no one and you still put on a cracking show and you have those three people in the place go, man, that was a good show.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
you keep going. Eventually, when you start packing our places, you appreciate it that much more.
mm.
Yeah,
And I think there's also something to be said too. Like, obviously, once you reach a certain point, yes, oversaturation of the market is a big concern, right? And because so many people online will be preaching about, how do I get more people to come to how do you get more people to come to your gigs? You don't play as much. But the problem is, a lot of bands try and go into that phase of things way too early.
Mm.
Like,
yeah.
new bands that are coming up, it's like literally for the first 2 years, 3 years, literally play every fucking gig that you can. And
So yes, Steve, in
yeah,
that time,
yeah,
like
say yes to as
100%.
much as you can. You will cut your teeth like that. You will, and especially when you're young and your body can handle the punishing schedule of it and all of that shit, right? Like, get out there and do that, and then you will build yourself that reputation. Your name will be familiar. Your name will be in people's faces. And then after that, once you've started to build the following, then you can scale it back a bit in terms of
Yeah.
trying to have that scarcity and not play all the time, right? But it's a lot of bands I think go into that phase a bit too early in things, and like you say, you guys were out there doing that for the first couple of years, right? Just playing for everything you could get, every opportunity that came your way, you were jumping on that, and I
Pretty much.
think that could be part of the reason that the name is so well known across everything now. It's because like you've you know you honed your craft on that live show, you really nailed it and buckled down and really like dialed in a great show,
Mm.
and that has carried forward into everything that you've done since.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, totally. And we don't live in a time where you can play 7 nights a week anymore, unfortunately. But if you're just starting out, just say yes to everything and like just go and get it. Like, we used to just go, fuck it, let's just go to Brisbane and play a festival like slot for half an hour and then just come home. Like we wouldn't do that now. Like we're a little bit more picky, and we've got like with the gigs that we do and stuff. But yeah, man, when you're young, just fucking get out there.
Absolutely,
That's-
absolutely, and I mean, it's
The only
it's
problem, especially when you don't have like an EP or anything out, no one knows your set. Just go hard until people do know your set. Until like, oh, you're playing that song again. Good, good.
Yeah, but like live is the best arena to figure out how to play the songs properly. Like you can rehearse all you want, but like as soon as you're on stage, it's a completely different environment. And we still like to, like we've got some new stuff coming out soon, and like we always like to play the new songs before they get released. Like it just gives you a different perspective on them, and like sometimes like we're not the kind of band that like plays to a click and has like a massive production. We're very just like four to the floor, kind of like straight up. But just hearing it in that live environment, like there's little tweaks you can make that can make it work better live and stuff. I think it's a really important thing to do. Like we've always done that with like upcoming releases, just like played a few songs on the road, see how they sit in the set before you get stuck into the album launch tour or whatever it is. So yeah, the live environment is the best arena to just
No,
get
100% agreed.
and it helps you like like you said, it helps you tweak the material and figure out like, okay, well, if I'm doing this live, is that a change that I want to make when it comes to recording it, right? Because like a lot of bands, like I've done that. Like I've been in bands where we've made the mistake of recording the material without sort of workshopping it for long enough, and then what we end up doing is live. I end up changing a bunch of shit because I'm like, hey, this is a cool little thing I can do, and then it's something
yeah,
that's only live and not on the album. Which yes, okay, makes the live version a bit special because it's slightly different, but then also by comparison, now when I listen back to the live version, it feels the album version, it feels a bit stale because it's not got those more like dynamic sort of tweaks in it, right? Those little extra bits that make it that much more special. And
yeah,
I think
that's it.
there's a lot to be said for like you said, really workshopping the material for a while, and especially early on, like that first, before you're doing your first album, like there doesn't have to be a rush on that necessarily. Like maybe you do a couple of tracks so that people can listen to something, but
Yeah.
you don't, you can be out there playing for a couple of years before you do an album and really dial that material in.
And then after you do
100%.
that, you can
Like,
get a reputation for yourselves and start being picky about shows, and that's the good part.
Yeah.
You got to earn
yeah,
those stripes to start rejecting shows.
yeah, man. And yeah,
And
like
the funny thing
just
is like, sorry, just before that, like
uh,
probably the only two bands from that era that we were sort of kicking around back then that I can really remember that as standouts that are still currently going, and the craft has gotten so much better as time has gone on, is Flaming Wreckage and Red Bee from Sydney
Yep.
anyway.
yeah, I love those dudes.
Yeah.
Very unique. That's fucking
Yep.
killer. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say like I think it's also like really important to have a difference. Well, for us at least. Like I'm not throwing any shade in any other bands, but like for us at least, it's like the live version of the song compared to the album it's two different things entirely. Like we have a habit of really going over the top with guitar parts when we record. We just get you start recording and you're like, oh, that needs 10 more harmonies. It gets to the point where it's like, you're never going to be able to replicate this live. So you have to figure out another way to make that song work. And I love that challenge. And we have parts that will go for a little bit longer at certain gigs, we'll jam it out. Like, so the live thing is completely different, which is why it's like on this new stuff we got coming out, like we really upped the production. There's heaps more layers, like things like synth and acoustics in the background that make it like just pop a little bit more on the album. We're never going to play to a track live. I'm not against any bands that do that. Like I know a lot of bands kind of in the more metalcore realm are pretty track heavy, but that's just that genre and it works for them and it's cool. But for us, it's like really like having the difference between the live version and the
A
album
bit of
version.
rawness, a bit of rawness in the live version, and
yeah.
I love
Well, not
that.
just that, people don't want to come out and listen to the CD anyway.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah, I don't. I
There's
don't. I love it
too.
when I love knowing the CD or the album so well of the band that I'm listening to that when I go out to the live show and you hear those different parts, it makes you appreciate it so much more. You're like, they don't do that on the album. They do something. They did something different here tonight. That's bad.
Yeah, that's it. And like, there's just so many more opportunities to throw extra shit in when you're playing it live too. Like, you can just like extend sections and just like do big build ups and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I really dig that. I dig that. And I'm excited to hear that you guys are playing around with some extra stuff, like some, some extra background stuff like synths and that in the background there. Because let me tell you, I am a big one of the bands that okay, so in the intro to this, I basically described you guys as if you take like Lamb of God and Killswitch Engage and Arch Enemy and sort of put it all together with a little sprinkling, just the tiniest little sprinkling of black metal in there. And that kind of gets, to me anyway, I feel like that's a close approximation to how you guys sound. And
it's like that.
some of my favorite Lamb of God tracks are the ones where they get a bit more experimental, where they've got like some more, where they put some of those synths in the background, or they put like some orchestration behind it, or they go with a vibe that's a bit different to what they may have done in the past. And songs like Overlord and King Me and Reclamation and those ones that are a bit different from your standard Lamb of God fare. So I'm really, really
like,
keen.
Sacrament is dripping in synth. Like every song, like if you ever hear the isolated tracks on that, it's just like
I've got the producer pack. I've got the producer pack with all the stems, and I love just throwing them in the door and doing a mix where I've got the orchestration way higher in the mix. It just changes the vibe of the song.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like, I think it's kind of, and the more you do it, like we work with the same producer engineer, Chris from Orpheus, for like 3 albums now. So he totally gets like where we're coming from. And the more you develop that relationship with someone, the more comfortable you get. And then that's when you can start really fucking with things like that. And it's just super fun to go, how much, like, if you're open to it, how much better would this be? And it's like, there's no reason to not try anything in a studio. Yeah. It's a blank canvas. You put anything on it, you never have to use it. Or you can have it really low in the mix. And even then, that can make a massive difference sometimes. Like, so,
I mean, we talk all the time about what we call ear candy, which is like just the tiny little extra stuff that's in the background that you really have to listen hard to hear, but it's just something a little interesting, different for you to shift your focus to from time to time, and it just keeps it interesting.
You have to listen to the whole song and probably listen to it more than once. Yes, I'm talking to all you shameless consumers out there that listen to 30 seconds of songs.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, it's like, do you guys know that band Coffin? It's the Sydney rock and roll band. Oh, man.
Is it just spelt like coffin?
Yeah. It's like E.F. It's like an acronym, but like a killer Sydney band. But like on their stuff, there's heaps of like sneaky little clap tracks and like shakers and shit like that. It just makes it sound more rowdy somehow. Like all those it's just simple things like bits of percussion and things along the way. Yeah, I love all that stuff, man. And like, once you start fucking around with it, it gets highly addictive. You just want to add it all in. And you should just do all of it, and then you can always take it away in the mix. Like,
And I want to touch on something that you mentioned just a little while ago there. So you've been working with the same producer for the new stuff that's been recorded and the previous 2 albums, or has it been all 3 albums that you've already done?
So the first album we did with Matt Clark. He's Into the Grave. And the last, so Cathedral, sorry, For Flesh to Dust and Cathedral of Bones are both with Chris, and the new stuff we've got coming out is with Chris as well. Yeah, it's just been awesome. Like coming back to the same guy, like totally gets it, and each time it's just getting slightly better.
I love that.
Yeah, it does kind of almost become like another person, like another member of the band to some extent. The time that you're working together.
Oh, good producer is worth their weight in gold, especially when they're on your level and your wavelength and your vibe, and it just
you know you can trust them. Like if they make a suggestion, if they make I'm sure the first time you guys work together, there's some suggestions that Chris could have made that you'd be like, huh? What is it? But now because you've been working together for so long, and you'd be like, hear me out. What about this? And you go, let's try it, because you trust him. He's proven himself, and you're like, all right, look, this guy, he knows our shit. He knows what he's talking about. Let's at least give it a go, right? And that's so valuable.
Absolutely, he could suggest anything, and I'd try it at least once.
That's so important. It really is. Finding a producer that you can go back to, that you can build that relationship with across multiple releases, it adds, like you say, it's like an extra person in the band. It's someone that you can trust, whose opinion that you value and respect, and you're not going to get offended if they say something's not great, because you've been working together and you have that they know what they're talking about, and they're not going to get offended if they put an idea out and you try it and you're like, yeah, maybe not. And it's like you've got that good working relationship.
Yeah, I think like just getting offended by anyone's ideas is pretty like not productive. Not productive if you're going to make an album. Like like you hear stories of bands going overseas to like big shot producers and stuff, and it's like just the way that they operate is just not what they're used to, or whatever it may be. But yeah, I feel like number one rule of recording for us at least is just like you just got to be open to things.
Yeah.
And you never know. Like that's the thing.
Well, there's no such thing as a bad idea until you try it. Do you know what I mean? You got to find out if it's a bad idea. Up until that, it's just like it's just words. You haven't tried it. It's not good or bad.
All I'm saying
there are some things that are very bad.
All I'm saying is, if Devin Townsend can layer kittens meowing into his stuff and have it work, there are no bad ideas.
Oh, no, there's no bad ideas in music. No, 100%. I agree. No. Especially off that analogy as well. Like Devin Townsend putting kittens in a... Although kittens are pretty metal when you think about it, with those sharp, tiny claws and the cute demeanor.
Little balls of fluff filled with razors.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so goth.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love doing the deep dive on like albums that have done like weird shit that has become like an iconic. It's like, I don't know if this is true, but I've been telling people this for ages. I hope it is. Like the intro to Blinded by Fear by At the Gates, that weird sort of scraping sound. Apparently that's like it's a vibrator on a frying pan.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then it's just been like, just heaps of delay and all sorts of shit on it, and you can't unhear it. So I'm gonna go with it.
It's like the Billie. It's like the Billie Eilish one too.
What's that one?
You know that song "Bad Guy."
Yeah.
Yeah. So when she was in Australia, and when I tell you this, and you listen to the song again, you're never not going to be able to unhear it.
Oh, the street crossing.
Yep.
Noise. Yeah.
So they use that, and it's actually pretty much throughout majority of the song.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's nuts. And they just recorded it on the phone, put it on the song, and that's one of the like the one that
Yeah, you go back and listen to it and you'll hear it now. So I want to talk about the new song that you guys are releasing, which, if for those who don't know, at the time this podcast goes live, it's tomorrow that this song's out. So go and follow, before you do anything else, go and follow Flaming Records on all the socials, on whatever your distribution platform is that you listen to, whatever your streaming platform is that you prefer, be it Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, YouTube Music, whatever. Go and follow them. And then go back tomorrow on the 19th and check out the brand new song, Witch Hunt. What can you tell us about this new song?
Well, straight off the bat, what I can tell you is that you can actually pre-save it, so you don't even.
There you go pre-save it.
The pre-save will be in the
Spotify.
link on the thing.
Yes, it'll be in the link. So you won't even have to do anything tomorrow. Spotify will tell you to listen to it, and
Hell
you can
yeah.
just do that. It's so it's the first track of a release we got coming out a little bit later in the year, and I can say that it comes in hot.
Like that.
We just went through the potential singles, and we were like, yeah, this is gonna be the most like in your face one that we have. So we just went for that, and it's pretty relentless the whole way through. And but you know, it's got some classic WREKAGE isms all through it. Lots of soaring guitar harmonies, and there's a ripping solo. Yeah, I'm really happy with this one.
Love me.
We just started for these shows, and it's fucking hard to play. But you know, you got to level up every 2 weeks. So love the challenge.
I love that. I love to hear that. I'm very, very excited. We love a good song. We love a song that just starts by punching you in the face and not really letting
this
up.
is actually punch in the face, definitely.
Good.
Beautiful.
Good.
I'm very, very
Good.
keen for that.
This-
So yeah,
the
like I said,
Australian
go
metal
on,
scene is just
pre-save it.
coming in hot.
Pre-save it. We'll have a link down in the thing, and make sure you go and check this song out on the 19th. So tomorrow, at the time of release of this thing, or if you're watching it later on, the song's already out. So go and listen to it. Right, pause the thing, go and listen to it, and then come back, and we'll keep, you know, and we'll keep talking. But is there? Okay, I wanted to ask, because obviously you guys have been around for a little while now, and I've dipped in and out of following some of the stuff, but it's always been like, pay attention to what Flaming Wreckage is doing. But I wanted to ask, has there been any like lineup changes or anything since the start, or has it been the same crew from the beginning there?
We've had quite a few. We haven't had any for ages though. Like the guys we have now, that's the guys, and it's super solid. But yeah, at the start it was like, so on the first album, I ended up playing everything except for drums. And then a drummer left. Like just the prospect of like going to Newcastle, I think was like too much for some dudes around that time. You know, it's just like you're just young, and they're just like, oh, let's go on tour. When it comes down to it, it's like, oh, nah, it's too hard. And then we had another drummer that didn't really work out either. But so me and Juzzy, the other guitar player, we've been the nuts and bolts of the band pretty much. So he joined just after the first album, and like ever since he's been like, we've been the main writing partners. Although the current lineup we have, the other dudes have kind of gotten more involved as time's gone on with the writing and stuff. But yeah, like there's definitely been some super challenging times with like getting the right people together. And like this is the thing, like, you know, I don't want to cry poor, but like playing in a metal band in Australia, there's just like not that many people that are into metal in Australia, like in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
So,
a niche genre in a small country.
Yeah, and then
Like punching
you
yourself
take
in the
that.
dick.
That's right. And then you take that and you go, well, trying to find a replacement drummer that's available. You know, things like that. It's like it's really just right place at the right time sort of stuff, and you just get lucky. But we've gotten very lucky with who we have at the moment, and everyone's 100% in and super involved and wants to tour and just loves doing it. So, yeah, where we're at right now, it's a really good place. And
It's good.
Yeah, it was
love to
great
hear
to.
that.
Yeah, like everyone's just super motivated to take it to the next level, and yeah, really looking forward to what we got coming out this year. So, yeah, it's, you know, if you're going to be a band for that long, it's like I'm always envious of these bands that have just had one lineup forever. It's just such an anomaly. I don't know how. That's, you know, like, because at the start you just like no one knows what's going on really. You're just figuring it out as you go. Every tour, you know, no one's got any fucking money. It's like it's heaps of hard shit at the start, but if you can push through it, it's like it's easy to quit.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. It's so much easier to bounce out. And that's the thing. We talk about longevity all the time. We have so many good bands on here. And some of the bands that we thought were, well, no, they had the potential. We didn't think they had the potential to really go places if they stuck it out. And the next thing you know, it's like a couple of months down the track, it's like we're on hiatus, and we all know what hiatus means. You don't need to call it hiatus. We all know what hiatus means. And yeah, you just like, but what could you? But this is why I guess so much respect goes out to the likes of Flaming Wreckage of band and bands like Red B, because yeah, there's not that giving up option. There's no, this is
Yeah.
not a band.
And like y'all have been around. I mean, how many other bands from, how many other Aussie metal bands from that era can you look at and go, all right, they're still going. They've not had a break. They're still going. They're on album number 4. Like you guys have outlasted a lot. Not that it's a competition, but like you guys have outlasted a lot, and you're up to doing album number 4. And it's like I said, you've got that reputation going there. You guys are really sort of pushing through to that next tier as well, and I think that it's going to continue to go up for you as much as it can within Australia. And yeah, like so you guys have got some shows coming up as well. That's something else we were talking about before. So again, if you're watching this on the day it comes out, on the 18th of January, there's a show tomorrow, 19th of January, up at Katoomba. The Baroque Room, that's at the one by the station, right?
Yeah, I love that place. We played there
so
last
good.
year, I think. It was awesome. Like, people in the mountains go hard, man. They don't get much, like, there's not like a regular heavy thing there, really.
Yeah.
So when there's a metal gig there, it fucking goes hard. It's good.
Those mountain goats do be moshing high.
Yeah, but that's it. It's like a lot of the like regional and rural areas, right? Like you go into a show out there, and because they get them so infrequently, you usually get a solid turnout for them, and people tend to go. People tend to really get into it. So I'm just having a look. So on that show as well, you've got
heaps of those.
Yeah.
And
So you
also, sorry, you go.
No, you go on.
I was just not only do you get a pretty good turnout a lot of the time, because there's just no competition, but you also get the best of the whole tour every time. You go to somewhere like Lismore, you will get a good story.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So on that Katoomba show, you've also got Astro Death and Celestial Oath. So for anyone wondering, that's the lineup on that one. And then in addition to that, in a couple more weeks, you got some shows the first weekend of February. Is it the weekend, the 2nd and 3rd of February? Yes, Friday and Saturday, yeah. It's that first bit of February. And I'm just going to pull up those ones. Now, is that... so that one's at the Vanguard. And you've got on the 2nd of February with Golgothan Remains and Devoid Altar.
Yeah.
And then I'll look at the next one.
I'd strongly recommend getting tickets to that.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty chockers. Golgothan Remains just fresh off doing some shows with Behemoth. And Void Altar are a pretty new sort of doomy band, good mates of ours that have just thrown something new together, so I'm keen to see them. Yeah, I'm stoked with the lineups we got for these couple of shows.
It looks like these lineups are really strong by this. And then you've got on the 3rd, Saturday the 3rd, at the Hamilton Station Hotel. That's Newcastle?
Yeah.
Newcastle.
That's a little festival. That's like Astro Death are playing that one too. They're really good mates of ours. Mountain was a Death Cult are playing that. Other local
that's an incredible band name, by the way. Mountain Wizard Death Cult.
They're also very good mates of ours. So
I put Mountain Wizard Death Cult up there with King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard or whatever the fuck they are. Like I put that. That's a name that you're like. You just hear it and you're like, "What the fuck is that?" I need to find out what's going on with those guys.
I think they got nominated for an ARIA this year. Not like it really fucking matters.
But
the King is they always get for an ARIA. Hard rock.
Yeah. Oh, that's good though. That's good. I'm really, really excited to see that you guys are getting out there already in 2024 with some really solid shows, because that's like, I think that's going to be the trend, man. But it's going to be a hard year for shows, man, because like so many
It's
internationals are finally coming down here in 2024 after
Mm,
all the cancellations and delays and COVID and everything. And they've done 2022, 2023. They kind of did all their US and Europe stuff, and now they're coming down here in 2024. And it's like the lineups, they're fucking, it's so chock a block. And
yeah,
I'm
it's
looking at
kind of
that
tough.
going, is there going to be room for the local shows? Is there going to be
mm.
room? Are people going to have, budgets are tight everywhere, and are
Well, it's
people
not
going to
even
have
that. There's
the
only so many
resources to
metalheads. There's
go,
only so many metalheads to go around. If they're all at these fucking
yeah, and
stadium
like,
shows, they're not.
are people going to have the time and the money and the inclination to go to some of these smaller local shows
Mm.
when there's been such a rush of international bands coming out in such a short time? It's going to be a challenge. Um,
Yeah, 100%. Like we're like yeah, like around March and April in particular, like there's so
mm,
much on, and you're right. Like people only have so much disposable income
mm.
to go to shows. So if you want them to come to your show, you have to fucking work pretty hard to get them there.
Yeah, you have to
Mm.
make it
But yeah,
special. And look, and a Flaming Wreckage show is worth going to. Like it's worth taking that and if you're looking at it going, okay, I've got limited stuff to do. Where am I going to go? Who am I going to go and see? Go and see a Flaming Wreckage show. If you haven't seen it,
100%.
I'm fucking begging you. You are disappointing yourself. You are only letting yourself down by not going and seeing Flaming Wreckage because guaranteed one of the best shows you will see all year. Um,
that's,
Mm.
I very much
and
appreciate
And I'd say that
that.
whether
This is
you're here or not. I'll say that whether
Yeah.
you're here or not. It's how it is, man. Like, you guys, as I said, people are like, oh, who's good, who's hot in the Aussie scene that I need to pay attention to? Flaming Wreckage. Straight up.
yeah. Thanks, man. But yeah, like we were saying, it's like it does make it difficult when it's so like oversaturated to some
Mm,
degree. Um, and I think what's going to happen is like a lot of Aussie bands will probably start pushing major tours to kind of winter time, just
yeah.
for less competition. But then that kind of then all the Aussie bands are going to be playing at the same time. So it's
Hmm.
just like, but the industry is still recovering in
Yeah.
terms of like
Yes. Yes.
how the year's playing out. Like, and ticket prices are a lot more expensive as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, it just comes down to like you have to be confident in what you've got, what you're giving to people. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like you can be confident in your own show, but if people don't like connect with it, they're not going to come.
Nah.
So it's all about bringing it direct to the fans and giving them an incentive. Like what's going to make our show just as fucking good as a Carcass gig? You know what I mean? You need to think like that and not just go, oh well, we'll just wait until this all gets less
Yeah.
busy or
Blows
whatever.
over. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You need
But
a hook. You need a hook.
like
Yeah.
yeah, and you can look at it like that, or you can just like for us, we're kind of just taking it as more of a challenge and just going, well, we're going to make it count. We're going to go up against these guys,
Mm.
and I think that makes you think outside the box a bit more, and you're a better band for it because being a band these days, it's not just about being a band. The promo and everything that goes with it is like the bigger part of it, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, just having those strategies of like how to connect with people is like number one thing, and that's what we're really going to put a lot of effort into with all this new stuff. I think we really want to get people to connect with us and like give them something that we can share. That's what music's about. So
For the most
100%.
annoying part for me of this whole point at the moment is people will sit there and they'll go, oh, for example, Knotfest. What a shit lineup. That thing's horrible. Fucking blah 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 blah. Are you going? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll spend like the 270 odd bucks and I'll bitch about it the whole time and I'll go there and complain. But they
Yeah.
won't spend $15 on going to see like a whole or $30 on going to see a whole bunch of local bands. You can complain. You can get online and complain about these people. They won't mind. They'll like the traffic.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Like, yeah. I mean, we had we had this discussion so much on the podcast. It comes up a lot about the whole idea of you can't just be a musician or a band anymore. You have to be content creators and promoters and social media people and the whole deal, and it makes it really, really hard for the people that are great bands and great musicians, just not good at those elements of it.
No, but it speaks more to the fans out there that'll turn around and go, oh, what a shit lineup, and then still go spend the money, complain about the day, as opposed to just going out and seeing a good local band. Like,
think about that $250 that you're spending to go to Knotfest, and then if you bought the ticket but you're still complaining, like, think about how many local shows that 250 could get you into, and how many incredible bands you could see.
Or
and
you could have just complained about a shitload more bands.
I guarantee you, if you go to $250 worth of local shows, you will find 2 or 3 at least new favorite bands.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it's going. The talent in there. We scream it from the rooftops. The talent in the fucking game here right now is off the charts.
It's the best I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's really good at the moment, and I feel like Sydney is like as strong as it's been in ages too. There was a period where Sydney was not great, and now there's like a good amount of diverse sort of metal bands getting around. Like we play with Astro Death and Mountain Wizard and stuff all the time. None of us sound anything like each other. It's like I'm doing those spill lineups, but like just getting back to what you were saying with like the Knotfest stuff. It's like you're right. Like I guess we're kind of in an echo chamber to some degree. If you listen to more underground stuff, you're going to see that and go, oh yeah, not for me. But by commenting on it and saying, oh, it's just fucking dog shit, then it does drive the numbers up on the but you know, like a lot of it's a mainstream metal lineup, really.
And look, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Like we're not these people that are saying that their lineup's shit. You know,
yeah,
like,
I like the lineup.
Like,
or someone's gonna like the.
I'm fucking going, like, because I think it's a killer lineup. I think it's a fucking absolutely cracker lineup. There's a bunch of bands that I either haven't seen before or haven't seen in a long time, and I can't fucking wait. Like, I think it's gonna be a great day. And there's a lot of people like, why are they calling it Knotfest if Slipknot's not playing? And like, I get it to a point, I get it, but like, they always kind of said that their goal with it was to build it into a franchise, you know, so they could just run it everywhere.
Yeah, Slipknot like that overseas for a few times. Like it's just another part of the business.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, it's the
still...
internet. It's the internet. Everyone knows better, and everyone's allowed to have an opinion now.
Yeah. I want to talk about something else as well. So you did mention in our little chat in the run up to today that you guys have the next song that you guys are going to have coming out. You're going to be recording a film clip for soon as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can tell us about that song or that film clip that you can share just yet?
Yeah. So I can tell you that it's going to be a bloody good day because we're doing it next Saturday, which is the same day as Obituary. So we'll be going to that afterwards for sure. And I can't tell you too much, but I will say that there's going to be a few guest appearances from some other bands.
I love that.
In the clip. So we just thought we'd get a few mates along and just have a laugh. It's a little bit of a different one for us. Like we've done the whole, pick an epic location and get our hair blown in. So this one's a bit different. It's a bit more relatable. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good.
Nice. Do you have a sort of rough time frame maybe on when that's expected to be getting out to the people?
Not too long afterwards.
Not too. Okay. So we can probably expect it within the next couple of months, maybe.
I would say so. Yeah. So this next single, Witch Hunt, comes out. That's kickstarting
everything.
The next phase.
Wicked.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be all over that shit, man. I'm gonna be listening to that all the time. I can't wait to hear Witch Hunt. I'm really excited to hear how that's gonna come out. Let's dive into our first segment. If Kyle's able to queue up,
let's do it, man. You ready?
Hit the button. Let's go.
That you
quick question quarter.
You could do so
back.
All right. So it is. Sorry, I was just swallowing the rest of my drink. It is time for the quick question quarter, spelt with Q's, not K's, because we don't roll like that. And this is just going to be some rapid fire questions here. And we're just going to get to know our guest a little bit better, get the understanding of his origins, the true origin story, and just dig down into the musical psyche a little bit more. So, without further ado, mate, what was the first instrument that you learned to play?
Guitar.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. My uncle taught me how to play guitar. Taught me how to. The first song I learnt, I think, was Enter Sandman on a shitty little nylon string acoustic,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, never looked back.
Wonderful,
Nice.
wonderful. I like that. What was the first album that you purchased?
I think it was Injustice for All with my own money.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
nice.
That's a strong,
Nice.
strong
Yeah.
contender. I
That's a
really
strong
like that.
buy.
Would have been around the same time because I remember like going to a family Christmas thing and my mum got the Black Album off my cousin because she likes Nothing Else Matters. She just wanted that song, but we had to listen to the whole thing on the way home. And I'd never like that was my first like impression of like proper heavy stuff, and I was just like, oh, here we go. And so I just went back and got every Metallica album.
You know, my heavy journey started with Metallica too, man. Mine was the first stuff. Like I'd listen to a lot of the radio and I'd watch like video hits and Rage and all that on the weekends. And the first thing I always liked music, but the first time I kind of was like, oh shit, this is like a different level for me was the stuff from Reload. So it was like Memory Remains, Fuel, Unforgiven 2, and I was like, okay, like there's something different about this, And then that was so Metallica for me as well, dude. Like I could, that's probably why I like Flaming Wreckage so much because it's like the origins from the same shit.
Yeah.
What was the first live concert you attended?
It was Avenged Sevenfold and Bullet for My Valentine at the Horden.
Wow, the
like,
Horden.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. I must admit, I've kind of fallen away from that kind of metal.
That's all right. You don't have to be shy about it,
yeah,
bro.
that's
You
it,
just-
man.
At that time, I think that was like 2007 or something.
I like how those
and-
are the bands that everyone's like they're ashamed of.
It's like that. Yeah,
Oh,
don't be ashamed. They fucking killed it.
Around that time, it was like
Well, they
The
grew out
Poison
of.
by Bullet, Ascendancy by Trivium,
Mm-hmm.
and like whatever Metallica I was listening to. But like that shit taught me how to play guitar.
Yeah.
And I reckon
Yeah.
The Poison, we play in drop C tuning, and that album's in drop C. And I just remember like just loving like the scales that like, I could play in that tuning. So actually massively influential album. But yeah, I was like frothing on that one. I was like up the front, near the side was the best, man.
That's mad. That's
Yeah,
mad.
man. Like, absolutely. Like, I have been a fan of like I've never been a huge fan of Bullet, but I listened to the key songs from like the early stuff, right? And I gotta tell you, man, like I saw him at Good Things the other month, and it was my first ever time seeing them play live. They played a lot of the old stuff because it was like 20 years of Poison, and like, fuck, man, a lot of people were hating on it. I'm like, this is fucking sick. Like, I think they did an incredible job.
I had a quick look at them because I was there as well in Melbourne. I had a quick look, and I was like, oh god, I haven't heard this song for a long time. It's cool.
But it was crazy because I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna be in that arena waiting for like I Prevail, I think was on the one that was on after them that I went, and I was like, I'll just be waiting around, and they played like, Waking the Demon, like Scream, Aim, Fire, all of the key ones that I used to listen to back then, and I'm like, yeah, I'm on that, I'm about that. What's an instrument that you've always wanted to learn but haven't yet?
I think keys. I'd love to learn how to play piano properly, but in a weird way, like I don't know anything about theory. Like I can't read music or anything, and like I feel
you're
like
in luck.
In some ways,
you're in luck though. You're in luck because you're playing drop C, so you only if you're in C on a piano, you only need the white keys, man.
Yeah, right. There you go.
So
like
there you go.
I work at a backline hire company, so I have to like test keyboards all the time. I don't know how to play them properly, but like there's so much shit you can do on them. I just want to get like a Nord and just fuck around at home with it because it's just like endless possibilities. Like,
Highly recommend.
Yeah,
highly recommend you do, man. Like piano was the first instrument I ever learnt properly, and I think there's a lot of, I had theory and stuff, but I never really used the theory that much in what I'm doing these days. But it's like you can do so much with it. It has the biggest range of just about all the instruments. from the highest note to the lowest note on a full scale 88 key keyboard. You've got
Yeah.
the biggest range of just about any instrument, and you're covering the range of most standard instruments, and you can just like to this day, because that's where I learnt all my theory. Like I can't find a note on the bass or guitar without translating it from the piano roll in my head. Like
Yeah, right.
it's just
I
that
mean, that's the reason they say it's like ideally the first instrument you should learn and then go. But yeah, like I was saying before, we got to fuck around with some synth stuff on a few of the newer songs, and like that was super cool. Like our bass player played it. Like he can play anything. He plays like clarinet and.
Oh, sick, sick. But yeah, like that's what I mean. Like you got even a rudimentary understanding of the piano keyboard, you can you can hash out ideas in a way that you just like you can approach things so differently, and you can have like your guitar riff there, and you can get an idea of stuff that you might want to go underneath it like so much quicker.
Yeah.
So highly recommend, even if you just get a cheap keyboard and faff about with it. You know what I mean? Really good. All right, if you could pick one big band or artist to open a show for. Now, the rules around this are pretty simple, okay? It's literally anyone at any time. So, living or dead, active or not, whatever time in their career that you want, any big band or artist to open a show for, who would it be?
Does it have to be in my band now, or just generally?
We'll say Flaming Wreckage. We'll say Flaming Wreckage is going to play the show.
All right. Oh man, I'd probably like, as much as I want to say Metallica, like Justice era, I'm probably going to say like Gojira, like about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they're a massive influence on us, but I don't know if you've seen like that show they did at this festival called Poland Rock. It's about 2 a.m, and there's like 100,000 people there. It's just fucking insane. Like, just at the end of the world site, man, you got to watch it. Like,
what was the festival?
Poland Rock.
It's called Poland Rock.
All right.
Yeah, just like raw. Like, to go onto that crowd before them would have been
2 a.m. too.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's going to be like bumping, having a good time.
I'll check that out. Because, I mean, you start getting up towards those, like, the high 5 figures or like low 6-figure crowds, and it becomes a whole other beast. It really does.
Yeah.
Like,
I would not know.
Like,
you just, you see it. You can see it in stuff like, I mean, fuck, I don't know if you guys have seen it. I know Rammstein puts out like 1 million live DVDs, but have you guys seen the one where it's like a Colosseum in France or something like that?
I've
got
that one, I think.
It's like 100,000 odd people there, and it's just like the sheer mass of people is just it becomes more than people. It becomes its own monster, and it's wild.
I've never seen Rammstein before, and they're right at the top of the list of bands I want to say.
Oh yeah, they're good live, man.
Honestly, seeing the live DVD is what really made them click for me. Like I knew some of their material, and I'd listened to some of it, but it was always like it's okay, I guess. But then someone showed me that that specific live DVD, and I was like, oh, okay, like this, like I get this now, I get it. You know, and apparently though, if you want to see them live, it's best to go and see them in Europe if you can.
Well, they got a residency in Germany.
They're like pyrotechnics licenses are like allow them to do all the crazy shit that they can't do here. You know.
Well, they did a fair bit of the big day out, like so my first experience with Rammstein was a friend gave me a VHS, and I'll never forget it because the thing was like bright orange and it had Family Values 1999 written on it. And I saw that the first time, and I remember showing my dad that, and I like it was the part where he bends over the keyboardist with the and starts spraying the crowd, and my dad's cracked up, and he's just like these guys are cool. And then when we got to see him in Sydney, the pyrotechnics were pretty off tap. Like they chucked the keyboardist in a bath, and the singer like pulled out this great big bloody cauldron thing and tipped what looked like molten metal all over into the bath while he was in it, and he came back out in this bloody LED suit. He did the whole fucking set on a treadmill,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was
Oh,
moving.
they
It
roast the
was
fuck out of him.
moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to
Yeah.
see it for the production. It's so wild.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Some of their stage sets are incredible. All right, you might have to break out your Spotify playlist for this next question.
We'll see.
Who is a band or artist that you're listening to right now that you believe is seriously underrated and deserves more attention?
Oh, stand by.
I mean, look,
Ah,
you've already mentioned a bunch of cool bands that we've talked about
yeah.
that you mentioned today. Like, I mean, Mountain was a death cult. I've already gone and subscribed to them on YouTube Music because I need to listen to them and see what's going on with those guys. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah,
They're killer. I've got to put them up there. Do you know a band from New Zealand called Beast Wars?
No.
I think I've
Very
heard his
cool.
name once or twice.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm really into my stoner metal.
Mhm.
Rock.
Oh my
Yeah,
god! Okay, I'm looking at their fucking header photo of on YouTube Music, and it looks like a fucking Man of War album cover.
yeah. Yeah, they're
Oh
very
my
cool.
god!
They're older dudes. They've been around for ages, but like
Mm.
they could have been massive, man. They always just came over to Australia and played at like Frankie's or whatever. I was like, this band should be
Yeah.
fucking.
Yeah, all right, that's cool. I like that. I like that shout out. So yeah, shout out to Beast Wars and Mountain Wizard Death Cult and all
Yeah.
that whole lot. All the bands we mentioned today. Go and check them all out.
Those two together would be good. I just saw Beast Wars in New Zealand. Well, actually, I was just over there for a bit.
Oh hell yeah,
Oh, that's mad.
hell yeah, that's awesome. What is something people may be surprised to learn about you?
Oh. I don't know if you'd be surprised, but I'm a massive, like, I love cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, on the last album, we did some hot sauce that was my recipe.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Nice.
That was cool. Yeah, I think that's like the thing I look forward to the most when we come back from shows is like cooking.
What's your favorite meal to cook?
I do a good curry.
Yeah.
A good curry.
Oh.
I would say tacos actually. Like I got really down the rabbit hole of like legit Mexican food.
Nice.
There's a shop in Chill that I found in Sydney that's got like you can go buy like all the legit like dried chilies and stuff. And if you like roast them in a dry pan and then blend them with some chicken stock and roasted garlic and onion, you get a delicious marinade, and then you grill up your chicken with that.
My mouth's watering.
Yeah.
My mouth's watering just hearing that, man. That sounds so fucking good. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what you need to do now though. You'll need to sell Flaming Wreckage hot sauce. You need to like make it a legit merch item.
Oh yeah, we did on the last run, but I think we might have to do some more. I've got an idea for a new recipe actually.
Yeah. Throw like and do, or you need to have like.
All I know
like,
is there needs to be a guy standing over a toilet and shooting fire out of his anus.
After
And call that and that needs to be the thing on it, and it needs to be called the Flaming Wreckage.
And like Flaming Wreckage is the perfect band name to also do hot sauce. It's like it goes together so well. The corporate synergy is incredible.
You got to try and make one that's so stupidly hot that it ends up on Hot Wings.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do one that's based off another song, but that is like it kind of has to be brutally hot, otherwise it just would be a cop out.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Stay tuned. I reckon we'll come up with something pretty good there.
Do you keep up with like the those like people breeding like the fucking mutant chilies that are like 2.6 million?
Yeah, the guy that brought out the new one, the X chili.
Yeah,
that guy.
Locke was telling me about it at rehearsal.
Yeah.
I was like, man, like why fucking bother? Like I like chili. I have a reasonable tolerance, I would say, but I'm not like into it just for the sake.
I don't go around hocking down habaneros for fun. Hey, if you want to go, if you want a fucking hilarious video to watch, guy smokes habanero out of a bong.
Oh fuck no,
brother. The guy, it's on YouTube. You can go watch it. I suggest everyone go and watch it, just as a what not to fucking do, because the guy, the guy starts moving in fast forward, but the video's going in real time. Like he just starts shaking.
Because you're not meant to put that stuff in that part of your body. Like it's
No,
but
no,
yeah,
it's
that's
just like
cool though,
fucking
man.
pepper
That's really
spray.
cool. I dig
I love
that
cooking,
you
man.
got
That's awesome.
something on the side. But yeah, like next time you do some of that hot sauce, hit us up. I'll order some because that's gonna
Oh
be.
yeah. Sure.
I think
We'll
that's
do a
gonna
well,
be
the
review
really
on
last
it
good.
one-
together.
The last one we did was called Capsiclism because we have a song called Cataclysm, and the
Yeah.
label was just like a capsicum with a joint hanging out of its mouth.
Yeah, nice.
But that one, like a whole bunch of like roasted red capsicum and habanero and garlic and stuff. It was good. But
do,
yeah,
do you ferment
we
your
just did that.
chilies?
No, but I have done that before.
Okay,
That shit's good, man.
it is.
I haven't
Fermented
done
chilies
it.
so nice.
Oh,
So
now I'm
easy
hungry
to-
for some fucking Mexican food now, man.
Man, I want some hot wings. I want like one of those beer towers on my desk right now. One of those table kegs.
let me
I want
check
a
what
table
time
keg and
Guzman
some hot
closes.
wings.
I want to go again.
Far out.
All right, last one. Last one in
Munchies.
the quick question quarter here. This is a newer question that I think we kind of introduced at the end of 2023, but it's pretty new. It's going to be a staple this year, I think. What is your worst music sin? Music or band sin, we'll call it.
I did something not long ago that I was not particularly proud of. I don't know if you guys know a band from Adelaide called Bad Dreams, and I'll admit to this because like they're not. I don't really know the band, but I know the guitar player from a band that I used to guitar tech for, and he was on stage, and I was incredibly pissed. And at the factory, and I was like, "Oh, it's fucking Dan! I've got to go say hello to him." And I just walked into the band room with no invitation, which is a very fucking rude thing to do. I think, like, if someone did that, and he was cool with it, thankfully. But if anyone in that band listens to this, I'm very sorry because that's not fucking cool.
But I think like you like the guy, like you're friends, right? So it's kind of
Yeah, but like there could have been anything happening in there. Sometimes there's like big after parties and stuff, and they're just like, "Who the fuck is this Punisher just
No, that's fair enough.
infiltrating?"
Hey,
that's
Dad.
fair enough.
Dad.
Maybe I
Get
thought it a bit.
This guy.
All right, no, that's cool. That's all right though. That's not too bad, I guess. All right. Well, thank you very much. That was the quick question quarter again with Q's, not K's. And why don't we go on to the next segment? If Kyle's ready to hit the button.
Favorite, I'm ready.
Favorite.
Oh,
Let's go. All right. So, everybody's favorite segment. Well, our favorite segment anyway. Used to be called something different, and then we came across to YouTube and we decided to clean up the name a little bit. Even though we still swear like sailors, and I don't give a fuck anyway. Maybe we should just continue to call it what we called it.
Yeah, let's go back.
I think if we make it, I think if we're going to make them into a YouTube playlist, this title will be more friendly. So this is this is Get in the Bin, and or maybe if we change it back, we'll have to censor it or something. Find out, try and do that. But anyway, this is Get in the Bin, where we're going to talk to our mate here and we're going to go, right, if you had, like Thanos, you've collected all the Infinity Stones and you've got all the power in the universe, phenomenal cosmic power, and you could just snap your fingers and eliminate 3 things from the music business entirely, be they big, small, things that are just annoyances to you personally or that you think would benefit the whole scene, things from anything from gig related to recording related, but into band stuff, business stuff, whatever. What 3 things would you can and why? Your first one when you are ready, sir.
Okay, I think what can get in the bin is people that consistently whinge about Australian tours not coming to their fucking town, especially people in Perth. I love Perth, but you need to understand how much it costs to get there. So every time a tour gets announced and you say, "Oh, there's no Perth," it's like, okay, buy some tickets next time. Nothing in Perth ever fucking sells out until the last minute. So, have some logistical understanding.
Absolutely. And I think it's also worth factoring in as well, right? There's some very important stuff that they need to look at, okay? Because if you want to look at just from a business perspective, right, the distribution of the Australian population,
Yeah.
okay? Something like, I can't remember where I found it, but I'm
It's like
sure I saw something,
it's 8 million in Sydney.
and
You
it's
got like
something,
5 million in.
but yeah, it's like something like 90% of the Australian
Is on the
population
East
is on
Coast.
the East Coast. So why are they going to spend significantly more money, like you said, because it is expensive, significantly
Yeah.
more money to go somewhere where, like, if they do that, it's basically getting subsidized by the rest of the tour. And with the margins being as thin as they are on these things already, and I'm not saying suck it up, princess, because I get it. Like, I get that like, it's not ideal, right?
Nah.
To not be able to see the bands that you love just by virtue of where you were born. Right? Like if you were born in Perth and you've lived in Perth and you've had no inclination to move over to anywhere else, and you know just where you like you've set your life up and you're not looking to move or anything, it's like okay, cool. Like I get it. It's not ideal that you miss this stuff out, but there does need to be a degree of understanding about this stuff.
Mm.
Like you say, it's
Yeah.
expensive,
Like,
and they don't sell out.
And if you have an issue, I'll
Yeah.
say it right here. Come over here and fight me. Pay your ticket and just fly over here and come see it. If you really want to see it that bad, or if you really love music that much, come over to the East Coast where all the music lives.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I will say
Except for
that
Sly
this
Withers.
is not.
Sly Withers, you're awesome. I love you. You're from Perth. You're awesome.
I mean, like I will say, like some of the greatest bands that have ever come out of Australia have come from WA,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this problem is unique to Australia, either. Like,
Mm.
Sorry, not unique to like Perth. It's like I think generally in Australia we love to whinge that things don't come here. It's like
Mm.
your dream tour will get announced in Europe, or like Hellfest will get announced or something, and someone will go, "Oh, you're not bringing this to Australia." It's like it's logistically impossible to do that.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I know.
every metal band ever is on the festival because it's in New York, where every metal band, like it's in America, where every metal band ever is from.
Yeah.
And then you go, yeah, can we bring like this 4 day, 20 stage festival to Australia? It's like,
To the biggest island continent in the world.
no, like, no, we literally can't bring all of this across the other side of the world. It just doesn't work that way.
Oh, it's like how many cities are we going to play through on that East Coast? It's pretty big. Yeah, you're going to play in 3,
Mm.
and it's like, well, we got to travel all that way to play 3 shows. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and it's not like you're driving a couple of hours to get to the next city after the show
yeah.
either. It's like you got to fly a thousand fucking kilometers to get to the next city.
Yeah.
And if it's a big show, there'll be multiple trucks going there as well, which costs shitloads of money to keep on the road.
Yeah.
All the way across the West Coast, it's just like, yeah.
And also,
I mean-
people really need to understand that Australia was colonized for the reason of sending criminals to the farthest point of the globe that they could possibly send them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like, I'm
he was
looking at
he-
this
they were
graph, right?
here. They sent us like here.
I'm looking at this graph, right, of the Australian population distribution. And it's exactly, yeah, it's like, so not Sydney necessarily, but if we go by state, so New South Wales has almost a third of the Australian population, right? So we know the Australian population is like, what, 26 million odd, thereabouts?
Yeah. So
So,
we're
yeah.
up at 8 million.
So you look at a third of that, and yeah, you're like, yeah, roundabout sort of 8-9 million. Majority of that in Sydney, Newcastle, Wollongong, type regions. Victoria has 25% of the population, and Queensland has 20%. So 20% plus 25% is 45. You add on that other third, and yeah, you're looking at the statistical majority by a very wide margin for the rest of it, and
Well,
it's just
It's even more insane how, like, yeah, how many amazing bands have come from there. Like, you're
Yeah.
talking like
precisely
it's nuts.
like,
But it's just,
bro.
it's difficult to do
And
it.
that's the thing. These bands, yeah, like when I've gone to fucking Adelaide and played down in Adelaide, when I've gone to Perth and played in Perth, the bands we play with are fucking incredible. There's no one denying the talent that's coming out of these places. It's a simple matter of business and geography, unfortunately. Um, and it's just I
It's
get
not
you.
about,
I
and look,
get you.
we fully understand that that's not very cool, and it's not really what the music's about. But unfortunately, it's what business is about, and
Mm,
there is a reason why they call it the music business.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm super keen to go back there, having said all that. But yeah, it's like,
Oh, bro, always,
Hey,
man,
but that's
always.
the thing, man. It's the
Anytime,
local, it's
like
the local bands that make the
I would,
shows.
I would love to go back to Perth and play with Death Fucking Cunt again. Like,
yeah,
like that's just one of the fucking most hard bands I've ever fucking played with in my life. Um,
yeah.
all right, cool. So number one is like you're gonna bin off people whinging about tours not coming to their fucking thing. Actually, you know what's almost as bad? I will say before we go on to the next one, when bands are playing Sydney, but people from like Wollongong or Newcastle expect them to come there. Like big bands will come over, and they'll
Yeah.
be playing like Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and people will be like, "Oh, fucking, it's not coming to Wollongong, not coming to Newcastle." Like, don't drive to Sydney.
Yeah. Well,
Unless you
I
get
guess
some, unless you get some snooty band that goes, "I'm gonna go play at a winery in Newcastle."
sounds like a pretty good weekend, to be fair.
I am so jelly. I am so jelly. I could think of nothing better than before a gig, sitting on the Newcastle hills, watching the sun go down with a Pinot Grigio, waiting to play a show. You tell
Oh,
me what would be
beautiful.
better.
Totally. But yeah, I guess this just comes down to like the common puntos just doesn't have the
Yeah.
understanding of touring that bands do. So I'm probably not in a great position to whinge about that. Just
No,
start
look,
shitting into every-
hey, it's
Yeah.
you're the guest. It's your fucking things.
That's it.
What's your second one?
Okay, you'll be able to relate to this one if you've ever played in a band ever. Fucking rider spiders. People that think they can just walk into your band room and just drink your beers. Not on. Like,
You guys are getting riders?
The Tats were
Nah,
the only
man, I
ones that
get
ever
you.
goes riders. No,
I
no,
get you.
rider spiders are not good. Are not good.
like
We don't.
I
We already
think
don't get paid.
like generally in Australia, getting a decent rider is way more difficult than it should be.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of factors that come into that. Alcohol tax, all these things. But like, man, like we've been to Europe and stuff, and like when you go there, it's just insane. Like hospitality, like the venue just gives you so many beers, incredible. So like,
Yeah.
when you're playing here and you get fucking 12 beers, and then some stingy dude comes in and thinks he can just fucking drink them. Like,
Yeah.
That's a great way to see some hands, flaming and wreckage.
yeah.
You want to see these hands?
Yeah. These are my boys, Flaming and Wreckage.
Yeah, you're gonna meet him. You're gonna meet him. You touch my rider.
I
well,
like
I will
these.
say that we're quite lucky because we're sponsored by Young Henrys, so we get looked after fairly.
Nice.
Good on
I mean,
ya.
Nice.
pretty liberal
What a bunch
with
of
our
bros.
like.
But
we,
look, there's a difference. There's a huge difference, right, between people just coming in and taking them, and you guys being like, "Yeah, have some."
if they ask, fuck. Like we did this one tour where we did like a few regionals. I remember we were playing in Geelong, and the lady I deal with, the Young Henrys, Liz, absolute legend. Liz and Amy always saw me. I was a great rider. They were like, look, I'm not going to lie, it can be a bit tough to get rider and like delivered in those kinds of places. So we were driving as well. So like maybe you should just take it with you just in case. So we brought like 3 cases with us, and then we rock up to the venue, and they had delivered it. So we had 6 cases. So
Yeah.
support fucking that night.
Yeah.
Boozer on us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, damn. That's a hell of a night.
That
I
is
mean,
how you get a reputation,
bro,
right there. That is how you get a
I
reputation.
can remember, man. What was it? I was doing Tattersalls in Penrith with Kid Crusher, and he doesn't drink really before he performs, and I don't think he was even a fan of the beer that they supplied in the rider. And I don't drink beer myself. I'm like on ciders or spirits or whatever, but I just don't really drink beers. So we had our mate there who was with us as part of the group, and he was just, he was like, well, so you guys don't mind if I drink him? And I'm like, go for it, man. You know, you come a long way from Adelaide to be here for this as well. Like you just can fucking drink them if you want. We're not drinking them. And so it was like a whole fucking fridge of beer, and he must have smashed most of them himself. And he was, I think he literally broke both of his fucking ankles that night.
Worth.
So you know, to fucking
Bruh.
tells you like he was gone. But
Yeah.
it's fun to have a good ride. I mean, look, I'll be honest, man. Like up here, they're closed now, but 11 Dive Bar up here was always really good. They always took care of the bands.
Yeah.
You know, we played. What was it that we played not long ago? The Wallaby Hotel for Wallapalooza, and
We've done-
they gave a decent like rider for everyone in the band got something like $30 or $40 to to spend in as at the bar or to get food with or whatever as part of that. So you know it's getting some of the venues up this way at least seem to be all right with it, but
Yeah.
that's
More
maybe
of that.
I just got lucky over the last few years. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like once you get to the level where you're like selling things out and stuff, it's like all the rider, it comes out of your budget as well. So, I mean, I love when people come into our band room and talk shit if they're invited. But
Speaking of riders, I want to ask. Obviously, you probably would have heard the stories about like all these bands back in and artists back in the 70s and 80s having like wild shit in their rider. You know, it'd be like a bowl of green M&Ms or like specific like really specific shit, right? Like
diva
sandwiches.
shit.
Sandwiches cut a certain way or made it. You know, like it seems like diva shit, right? But it wasn't about that at all. Do you know what it was about?
So-
You know what? You know why they did it?
yeah, it's so that they knew that you read the contract.
Bingo. They knew that they'd read because they'd always put that late in the contract, and if they'd got that and they walk in their dressing room and the shit they asked for is there, they're like,
That's like
all right, cool. They've read all the contract.
it's the Van Halen take all the brown M&Ms out thing. It's like
Exactly.
I was
Exactly.
putting 50 brown M&Ms in a whiskey glass for Aussie one night.
But it makes sense. It's a great way to know. And you know that if that's taken care of, all your other shit's taken care of. Your security stuff, your fucking gear requests, your like all of that shit. You know if they've gotten to the point of worrying about that stupid little diva shit, that they've taken care of everything else.
I never thought of it like that. That's actually it's like I used to know a guy that worked at McDonald's. And this was way back in the day before they had the really good rules when they could just like leave the burger sitting there for ages. Remember how they just used to, and it just used to be like literally fast food. You'd order it, they'd grab the burger,
bunch of them,
and they just hammer them out. And this guy's like, he's like, I'll get a cheeseburger with tomato on it. And then he'd just take it and hock the tomato. I'm like, why'd you get tomato on? He's like, I know they made it fresh then.
yeah,
Like, oh, you broke the system.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like asking for fries without salt.
Yeah.
You know, like because they salt the fries when they put them in the thing, right? So if you want fresh fries, you ask for fries without salt. So then you know they're fresh.
I got a great story about Ryder involving King Parrot.
All right.
Oh, okay. Let's make it big.
Love those boys. Shout out to Todd. Shout out to the rest of King Parrot.
Todd's been on this, hasn't
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had Todd.
he? Yeah, cool. So we played a few gigs with them last year. It was like Sydney, Wollongong, Newcastle or something. And on their rider, they have raw broccoli and 2 cases of VB. I think there's some meals as well or something, but it's like, that's fucking weird. And the Slats is just like, yeah, the raw broccoli, mate. You fucking just get it in there. It's good. But we played this gig with them in Wollongong and they didn't have VB. That's like all they'll drink. They refuse to drink anything else. And the bar manager comes out to the band room and Ari was there and he's like, I don't know if you guys read the rider, but we asked for VB. Don't know if you have that at all. And he goes, oh, nah, sorry, man. We do get that, but we don't have that. But what we do have is EMU Export. It's from WA. It's really good, trust me. And EMU Export, I think, is actually fucking perfectly acceptable beer. but Ari just goes, "Don't you fucking tell me what VB tastes like, cunt." I fucking know. This is like a VB connoisseur right here. It was so funny.
Hey,
God damn, that's
mate,
great.
yeah, look, VB drinkers are a very, 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 very special breed. I'm one of those.
I'm sure you won't.
I love
because he's-
VB.
yeah.
I love VB. I like that's. I love craft beer, right? But here's where things get a bit sketchy. If I go to the pub, I'll only drink VB unless they have a craft beer on tap. I will not touch Tui's. I will not touch Carlton. I will not touch any of that commercial crap but VB. Everything else is no hold bar.
Craft beer drinkers fear VB drinkers. VB drinkers only fear Foster's drinkers.
Yeah, we gave that shit away. Nobody likes Foster's.
Yeah, it's about the only, like, you go to America and they fucking, it's the only Aussie beer that they fucking sell anywhere.
Yeah.
And every time I'm just like, we don't, we don't fucking drink that, right?
Yeah, we gave that away.
It's funny though. Like I worked at Young Henry's for about 4 years, so that's why I'm like good mates with all those guys. But it's actually a weird little crossover with like VB drinkers and craft beer. Like sometimes people will come in there and be like, "What's the closest thing you have to VB?" It's like, just go to any pub if you want that. I don't know,
Why are you here? A Young Henry's bitter.
The success brewery, like the success of that brewery, is down to just making like really approachable, smashable beers. That like they've got a couple of. Like this one, I'm drinking like the hazy, which is lovely, but like they like just their core range.
The lager, the hazy
lager. The lager.
Look, as far I started off my beer, like the Beer Buddy channel, doing craft beer reviews, right? Yeah. And I've said this from when I started doing that 2 or 3 years ago. Young Henry's have the best business model out of any independent craft brewery in Australia. The reason being is because they have their core Soul range, which is your... I haven't seen it in ages. The IPA, the lager, and the pale ale. They come in 6 packs. They're a box. They're 24 in a case. Whenever you get your little nichey ones, like the hazies, the hazy lager and stuff like that, they do them in 4 packs. Yeah. So they have their core range that rolls them over and just keeps on making them money because you're guaranteed to get good beer every single time. And it's still independent, Australian owned and stuff like that. And then every now and then they'll bring out a nice niche one that you can try, and it's a bit ooh. Yeah.
And we've got to shout out Young Henry's for their support of live music in Australia too.
Yes, and you should come.
So many venues, and they're just they know what it's about. They know what it's about.
Solid beer. All right, great for the music.
What's your number 3? What's your third one?
All right, people that just get on stage when it's not encouraged by the band, that can get in the fucking bin. Like,
bro,
I'll tell you my story. So, I do guitar tech stuff all the time. I'm like touring pretty regularly, doing that too. I just did this tour with this band L07. You guys know they're from like 90s chick punk band. They're really cool. But in Perth, he's talking about Perth. This guy, like, it wasn't a rowdy gig particularly. Like, it's rock and roll, but they're kind of older crowd. People are not like sending it too hard, sort of thing. This guy just like walks onto stage, puts the hands up, and I was like, dude, not now. This is not the right show for this. And he just brushed me off and then jumped into the crowd. Like, you know, like the first scene of School of Rock where he just like eats shit and no one catches him. It was literally that. Like, he's a big dude too, and he just fucking went down so hard, man. Like, I was more worried about the people that he was landing on. I was like man, what do you read the fucking room? Hey, like, at no point was that going to like.
That is. Oh, at least he ate shit.
At least he ate enough shit to learn a lesson. Didn't get permanently injured or dead. Like, there's a nice medium in there for sure.
Yeah.
Good. And he apologized after, so you know it was.
That's decent at least. I mean, but look,
I'm sure he got knocked out. A bit of sense got knocked into him on the way down.
It's absolutely a point of contention. I know that some bands are fine with it. a lot of bands aren't, especially in America, and especially since
The Dimebag
Dimebag.
thing. Yeah, man.
It's put a lot of people off it, and they're very wary about it.
Well, I just don't like it because you just like,
It's
I
not
don't
your
walk
time,
into
you know.
I don't walk into your office and just start fucking with this shit. Like I'm trying to
Yeah.
do my job here. Like, yeah, I don't know. We've had it a few times. Like, I don't mind if it's like people are just running up and then jumping straight in, crowd surfing, whatever. Like, and we're not like the kind of band like Speed or like a big hardcore band where there's like fucking 100 people on stage and stuff. And we've played shows like that. Like when we went to Indonesia, there was a couple of gigs like that. It's just like that's just the vibe, But what I don't like is when it's like clearly like the stage is one thing and the crowd is another thing. But people think they can just come up and reach that kind of area. Like we did this gig once in Whyalla, like in like regional South Australia, like fucking right out in the sticks. Some shows with Shatterbrain in Intent. And this gig, like this guy up the back he just clocked me. I don't know what went through his head, but he just marched up to the stage and he just like grabbed my mic stand and started smashing it on the ground. Like while I was like trying to sit. Dude,
No.
I can't do it.
No.
And he did it 4 times during the set, and I was like,
No, don't get on stage. Don't get on stage, and don't touch the fucking gear. Straight up, like I had, dude, fucking Wallapalooza, man. Like we played there, and Nuclear Vision. We've recently transitioned to having like a stage rack, so we're running in ears, and then like we take a split. One goes to the front of house, one goes to in ears. We do like bass, guitar, all that. Everything except drums is going straight into the fucking box, right? So we don't even have amps most of the time, and it's just all through there, right? Now, the room that we were playing at Wallapalooza had a slightly odd setup. It was a weird shaped room. The PA setup was unusual. So the people that were right at the front, and I didn't even realize until I got there, I didn't realize this was going to be a problem. But the people right at the front, if you didn't have amps, they basically got no guitar or bass.
It's behind the PA.
It was they were literally behind the PA speakers, so they got fucking nothing, right? All they got was basically drums, and like, okay, yep, look, for this reason, we probably should still run a little bit of stage sound, but whatever. We're trying to get a very quiet stage if we can.
Yeah.
But this fucking guy, he was clearly drunk. He was like, I was playing, he was stood in front of me, and he's like, I can't hear your bass, mate. I can't hear your fucking bass. And I'm like, fucking talk to the sound guy, cunt. Like, it's not my fucking thing. I'm playing, right? I'm playing. I can hear myself. Sound guy hasn't told me that he's not getting bass. That's all I'm worried about, right? I'm like, if you can't hear it, talk to the sound guy. But he's fucking... And where it was, like, I was right at kind of the end. So he's like, looked where my fucking shit is on the floor, looked at the cable that he thinks is where my shit's coming out, followed it to the box, and then was like looking like poking around on the front of the box trying to do shit. And I'm like, at first I wasn't sure. I'm like, is he? And when he started doing that, I'm like, wait, is he crew or something? Like, am I not, and he starts fucking, and then thankfully someone, I was paying a lot of attention to this guy, and thankfully one of our friends went up and was like, yo, don't touch that. Like, don't fuck with that. And he's like, but I can't hear. It's like, well, it fucking doesn't matter. Like, leave it alone. It's not your shit to touch, right? Don't fuck with it. Don't touch people's gear. Like you said, you don't go into their fucking office where they're working and, like, start bashing their fucking keyboard around and shit. Like, it's not fucking cool.
I love how he thought he could just go up to your rack and be like, oh, yeah. This will get it. We patch this here and
like
here.
You've never seen this rack before in your life. You don't know how it's wired. Yeah. Talk to the sound guy, and the sound guy will tell you the same thing I will. Fuck off.
Yeah.
With the punch in the face boot.
I've had people, like, when I'm guitar teching for bands, like, try and get me to turn it up. Like, I'm not even in front of house. What are you doing?
Go speak to the sound guy and go tell him he sucks.
Ask the lighting guy to turn it.
Yeah. It's just, like, I get it, right? The average punter doesn't know how a lot of this stuff works.
Yeah,
the layperson...
But if you don't know, then don't fucking ask. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
just
And
whinge about it.
it's the
I'd love to see like
Yeah.
a meme of that. Maybe we should make like a what punters look like when they do shit at shows. So when you hop up on the stage, and then we can have like a cutaway where you go into their workplace and then just like throw your arms up in the air and just pile drive through the desk. And
Yeah.
then just walk out.
yeah,
Just be
yeah.
like,
I think
great
we need
shit,
to do that. Yeah,
great job, man.
bunch of skits. Yeah, we'll do a bunch
Yeah.
of skits. If people acted like rock and roll and metal fans at regular workplaces, like I
Yeah.
think that's a
Well,
vibe.
But yeah, I think like at some shows, like it is a vibe. Like I know Astro Death do a Black Sabbath cover, and they were like, "All right, everyone get on stage." Like if the band is asking for it,
Yeah,
that's totally fine.
yeah. If the
They
band's
want-
encouraging it or asking for it, then fine. But like, if you're
They
not
want that.
invited up there, and the band does it, it's not your space. It's not your time.
Mm.
Enjoy it from the crowd.
Yeah,
And
I
a small
like
piece
loose-
of advice: if you're a singer, ask the rest of the band before you do it. Because
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, everyone come up on stage, and then the boys were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And the next thing you know, pedals are getting knocked, and I'm just like, "Oh, I didn't think that one through."
Yeah, like man, like I like loose shows. Like we've done, like especially at Frankie's and stuff. Like the last one ever there, that was. I reckon I signed like half of that gig because there was so many people just falling onto the wedges and knocking the mic stand around and stuff. But it's like, you know, when the whole room is just total chaos, you just have to embrace it. But it's
Well, they're
just
not
like,
good.
I'm
But that's at that
also-
stage of the night, they don't give a shit about the music.
yeah. I'm more talking about the one guy that's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is my
and that's a shame because like that one guy can ruin a gig for a lot of people, right?
Mhm.
Like that's just it. It can frustrate a band. It can put because that guy's also the guy that's like maybe if the crowd's more into like standing still and headbanging rather than like full on moshing that night, but that's the guy that's like pushing everyone and shoving everyone and trying to get a mosh pit going all night long. He's tried a few times and it hasn't worked and he doesn't care. He's still going to keep trying.
Homie, you're opening up a circle with
like-
15 people. The circle's been there the whole night.
Like, I get it. You're excited. I love it. I love that for you. But you have to read the room about this stuff sometimes, you know?
And there's always got that one friend that's always apologizing. You notice that?
Yeah.
And it's always the way. You've got that one dude that's always causing chaos, and it's like normally, not always, like a kind of a small dude, and it's always this big mate behind him going, sorry,
Sorry,
man.
mate.
Is that too much to drink? Sorry, man.
All right, but that's a pretty good one. So we had people getting on stage and when they're not supposed to, fucking people stealing shit from your rider, and what was the first one again, man? Sorry,
Thinking
I've
you're a
lost that one.
sound, thinking you're a sound engineer when you're not a fucking sound engineer. No, you're a spot.
No.
no.
It was,
just people are just whinging that the tours.
yes, whinging about
Oh, yeah,
tours.
tours.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one. Yes, absolutely.
Sorry,
So,
we couldn't even remember you.
That's sorry. That were very spaced out that time. That's all right. That was good though. I'm really digging that. All right. Well, look.
Shout out to Perth though. We will come back. I love you, Perth.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Look, it's
The
fine.
music's great over there.
Yeah. Like
Don't
I said,
blame us, blame the international bands. We're not the ones that don't come and see you.
great bands out of the Aussie bands are the ones that are like getting out there.
Yeah.
You know, so go and see some Aussie bands when they come out because it's worthwhile for sure. And there's so much cool talent coming out of there. Right. So look, thank you very much for taking the time. Before we take it home, is there anything else that you want to shout out? Other than obviously everyone go and listen to the fucking song when it comes out tomorrow, or if it's already out, go and listen to it. If you listen to it before, pause, go and listen to it again, and then come back. And then once you're done, go and listen to it a bunch more times. And yeah, go and follow Flaming Wreckage on all the socials and all that good stuff. But is there anything else that you want to shout out before we take it home?
Yeah, I just want to say huge thanks to you guys for having us. Long-time fans. Like I was saying to you before in the pre-show, like I don't think I've seen anyone else wearing that shirt other than my dad, which is fucking amazing.
Man.
Thanks for
Hey, I was just
Thanks for
saying,
sticking-
like the quality of this shirt, the quality of your merch, even back then,
right.
tight, beautiful.
That's good. Yeah, well, hopefully we've upheld that quality throughout the years.
I'll find out.
Yeah, looking forward to getting playing some shows, and yeah, you guys check out that new single. We'll fucking see you soon.
Absolutely, hell yeah!
Nice.
Keep an eye out for those few shows that are coming up as well. Katoomba, Sydney, and Newcastle. Get out.
There'll be many more horizons.
Yes.
So if your
Yeah.
city's not on that list, Yeah, we'll get
Yeah,
there.
I'll have to try and make a point of getting to the next Brizzy show. I think for
Yeah.
sure. Actually, when you want it, next time you're looking at coming up to Brisbane, drop us a message because I'll try and tee up for Nuclear Vision to do that one with you guys as well. Because
Yeah.
I'd love to play another show with you guys
Ooh.
again after so long. But yeah, man. Well, look, thank you so much for joining us today. We very very much appreciate it. Thank you to my co-host Kyle, aka Beer Buddy. Thank you to all the fans for watching this one. I am Raf. We have been 2do2 Talk Music featuring Flaming Wreckage, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Peace.